Have you ever tried to get someone's attention and priority just to get rejected? Have you ever tried to get someone's love and affection, but later found out they weren't really into you? They did not care about you. Do you know why they didn't care about you? It is because of you. Yes, it is you, because you could not attract them and manifest them in your life. You couldn't get their love and loyalty. You missed the spice. It is the main reason you were friend zoned. In this video, I will tell you 8 brutal rules to attract anyone in your life. It's not black magic, it's white. Trick's gonna get lit as we go down. So stay with us with a like. Lesson 1. Use Contagion Effect. It is thus the very foundation of personal well-being and the cornerstone for any other authentic attraction. This doesn't have anything to do with selfishness or narcissism, but has to do with nurturing a healthy relationship with one's self-worth and knowing one's value without the need for that confirmation from somewhere else. If you love yourself, you project an aura of wholeness that others are drawn to. Psychologically, self-love percolates the concept of self-compassion, which has been pretty well researched by Dr. Kristen Neff. Self-compassion provides grounds for treating oneself with kindness when things go badly, rather than self-criticism. Research has shown that those who practice self-compassion have more resistance when facing shocks or stressors in life and are less vulnerable to anxiety and depression. This emotional balance makes them more attractive. They don't seek validation from others, and therefore can give so much more in a relationship while building a stable and healthy one. Another psychological factor is the contagion, being how people take in others' emotions unconsciously. When you express self-love, others sense this stability of emotions and confidence. They know that you're the kind of person who doesn't look to others for justification, a quality that's highly appealing. It shows inner peace. That one is comfortable with themselves. Self-love involves defining personal boundaries and knowing when you've had enough. Every time you take care of yourself, say by refusing to indulge in things that drain your life or focusing on other things that nurture you, you assert that your well-being is important. That becomes the standard as to how others would treat you. The more respect you give yourself, the more others will naturally follow your lead and learn to value you beyond what you can give them, but for who you intrinsically are. Lesson 2. Use Optimism Bias. Besides being an attitude, positivity oversteps its mere definition into the realms of being a powerful force in reshaping the cycles of interactions and experiences involved in how people perceive and respond towards you. You exude it, and around you, people feel uplifted and energized. That kind of energy tends to work like magnetism on attraction. This psychologically connects to what is called the broaden and build theory, which was developed by a psychologist named Barbara Friedrichsen back in the year 1998. According to this theory, positive emotions impart the ability to broaden one's thought-action repertoire, creating durable resources, including social bonds and emotional resilience. The reasons why it pays to keep a positive outlook, especially through tough times, include that people get drawn into your hope and resilience. You will become that guy with whom people can't wait to be, because your energy lifts up the mood and interactions in all you do. But positivity does not cover obliviousness to difficulties or merriness at all times. It is about maintaining a balanced and constructive outlook, focusing on what can be learned or gained from a situation rather than dwelling on the negative. This sets the environment for optimism bias, a cognitive bias through which individuals expect positive outcomes. The behavior will be contagious. Others start associating you with that sense of possibility innately appealing. In addition, positivity is conveyed by body language, smiling, open posture, and warm eye contact. Such nonverbal signals denote approachability, and studies on nonverbal communication, for example, Mehrabian's research from the 1970s proof that such signals are highly determinants of one's first impression. By cultivating this positive, inviting presence, you create an atmosphere in which connection and attraction naturally flower. Lesson 3. Use sunk cost fallacy. We all know vulnerability and being sweet in romantic relationships is important, but often tend to forget using this very act due to our ego. Vulnerability in relationships is one of those things that is mistaken for weakness. In reality, it is one of the best gifts for building and elevating relations. There actually exists a psychological phenomenon called the Ben Franklin effect. Doing someone a favor makes that other person more like you. The reason behind this is pretty simple. We always try to give meaning to our actions. Helping someone out must mean we like them. But let's go even deeper. Asking someone for a favor, however small, is not manipulation. Rather, it is an opportunity to create genuine interaction and exchange. It's like a little loophole of mind, the sunk cost fallacy. It's not wrong. It's just about being human. For example, it makes us invest in something more if we had already invested some amount in it. When you ask for someone's help, you show at the same time your trust in them and give them the opportunity to contribute something into your life. That way, it allows other people to feel needed. This circles back to vulnerability too. For in asking for assistance, you're also showing that you don't have all the answers. You're open to the perspective of others. And this openness can create connection. People connect on shared experiences. If someone invests a little bit of effort in you, they become more invested emotionally. So make her invest on you. That's how she remembers you. In the social media era, she will meet 100 people who wants to invest in her. Now, you know how to make her remember you. It's not about gimmickry. It's about an honest exchange. When through that, you show genuine gratitude in return for someone helping you out, you reinforce that bond, that you value their input. Well, that will make them value you in turn. A relationship that grows out of mutual respect and appreciation is far stronger than one where one person does all of the giving or all of the taking. Vulnerability makes you look approachable, and it is sexy. No one wants to talk to a dull guy, right? Lesson 4. Use scarcity principle. We are living in a world of instant gratification and immediate availability. But when it comes to romantic connection, specifically in attraction, the voice of scarcity has a silent yet staggering role. Subconsciously, our minds consider whatever isn't so accessible to be worth more. This is not about playing games. It is actually a reflection of how deeply we respect our time and energy. The key to applying this to attraction is by being intentional about where you invest your attention. When you're always available, always saying yes, always giving without reflection, it sends a signal you aren't prioritizing yourself. It's not about being distant. It's about being selective. You are not a resource to be spent carelessly, but rather someone who knows their worth and offers it with care. Psychologically, we value what we have to earn. So, by showing that you have your own ambitions, goals, and priorities, you automatically become more appealing. People are drawn to those who are focused on their personal journey, not just waiting around for others to validate their existence. Instead of chasing, cultivate an atmosphere where people wonder about you. Let them see that you are driven by your own internal compass. This space gives others, especially women, the opportunity to engage with you out of genuine interest, not because you're always there, ready to fill a gap. Being selectively present is more powerful than being constantly available. Lesson 5. Use Zaric effect. There's a quiet power in holding back just enough of yourself to keep someone intrigued. It's not about manipulation, but rather about letting the layers of your personality reveal themselves naturally over time. When everything about you is instantly available, it can dilute curiosity. In relationships, mystery isn't about secrecy. It's about pacing. Think of it this way. Life, like a well-told story, is more captivating when it unfolds gradually. In psychological terms, the zaric effect, our tendency to remember incomplete tasks or unresolved narratives, comes into play here. When we encounter something unfinished or not fully explained, our brains crave closure. This curiosity draws people in as they seek to uncover what they feel is just beyond reach. This doesn't mean you withhold for the sake of it. Authentic mystery is about letting others discover you in their own time, through experiences and conversations. It's about sharing glimpses, stories, and passions without laying everything out at once. You're not playing hard to get. You're living a life full of rich experiences that take time to explore. Let someone learn about you organically. Share moments that matter, but don't rush to fill every silence. Allowing space for discovery invites intrigue, as they'll naturally want to learn more. The unpredictability of not knowing every detail at once adds excitement to interactions, turning casual encounters into meaningful connections, one story at a time. Lesson 6. Use confidence. It is not all in the way you present to others, but basically how you also feel inside. And when you truly are respectful of your value, then you do tend to draw in their opposites, or those that can see and truly appreciate that quality within you. It's a quiet confidence, not arrogance speaking volumes. The word self-worth goes beyond just an example of self-esteem. It literally means coming to understand or fathom one's intrinsic value away from validation. It's about relationships. If you do not value yourself, you might find yourself bending too much, agreeing to things that do not integrate with your true desires, or settling for less than what you deserve. And this takes away not just from your confidence, but from the respect. People are attracted by the physical and psychological sense to the ones who have set healthy boundaries and know their limits. Setting boundaries is one of the features of self-care, and it sends an incredible message to others that you feel comfortable in your own skin and with what you stand for. With every move you make in respecting yourself well enough to say no or step aside from situations that would end in compromised values, you create this aura of strength and self-assuredness, a pride in oneself, not ego. This isn't about ego. When you build a life conducive to your values, goals, and dreams, you stop seeking external validation. You become a person that attracts and longer chases. Real self-worth emanates outward, often passively, but impresses itself upon others, which changes how they treat you. Oftentimes, when you raise the bar on yourself, the world rises to the challenge with you. Psychologically, this relates to self-determination theory, SDT, proposed by DC and Ryan in 1985, which highlights the human need for autonomy, competence, and relatedness. When you value yourself, you fulfill this need for autonomy, showing you are in control of your choices, goals, and boundaries. This signals to others that you aren't seeking validation from external sources. You're centered, independent, and content with your own journey, an attractive quality in any relationship. Furthermore, setting healthy boundaries is not just a protective measure. It's a psychological signal of self-respect. According to studies on assertiveness and self-esteem, like those from the 1990s by sociologist Peter LaRosa, people with higher self-esteem are more likely to set boundaries and say no when needed. This reinforces the perception that you know your worth, which in turn can lead to higher admiration and respect from others. Lesson 7. Use your goal. Achieving financial success can sometimes be regarded as an outward indicator of accomplishment, but what truly makes it attractive is not the money. Rather, the qualities that create it are what make it appealing. Ambition, discipline, and perseverance are qualities that signal great direction and sense of purpose onto which others are naturally drawn. Financial success will become basically reflective of your own ability to set goals, to work hard, and to create stability traits appealing in a partner. This would pertain to the psychological views on self-efficacy, proposed by Albert Bandura in 1977. Self-efficacy is a belief in your ability to influence outcomes through your actions. People exhibiting high self-efficacy tend to be more resilient, confident, and persistent in the face of challenges. These traits are magnetic because they hint at reliability and strength, some sort of qualities which people subconsciously seek in partners because they signal stability and future success. Also, the very accomplishment of financial success usually comes with delayed gratification, as studied in the famous Stanford marshmallow experiment by Walter Mischel back in the 1970s. To be capable of delaying immediate rewards for long-term goals is a signal of emotional maturity and self-control, both highly desirable. It's not about flashing wealth. It's about discipline and patience that got one there. But with all things, balance must be there. Financial success shouldn't be in the position where it takes precedence in life, like personal growth and relationships. True attraction actually happens when one is into living a well-rounded, purposeful life, with financial stability being just one attribute of the bigger picture. This means that when you accomplish success with humility and with an emphasis on growth, you are someone who not only succeeds, but would inspire. Most obviously impossible to resist because of a combination of ambition and humility. Lesson 8. Use push-pull effect. In attraction, balance is key. The push-pull effect is a dynamic where you alternate between giving attention and stepping back. It's not manipulation. It's simply a reflection of a busy, fulfilling life. When you're genuinely immersed in your passions, work, and personal growth, this naturally creates a push-pull rhythm in your interactions. You're present and engaged, but you're also living your own life, which keeps things intriguing. Women often find it attractive when a man isn't making them the sole focus of his world. This doesn't mean neglect or playing games. Rather, it's about maintaining your priorities and allowing your busy schedule to do the work. When you're deeply involved in your work or hobbies, your attention naturally ebbs and flows. This makes your presence more meaningful because it's not constantly available. It feels intentional, not needy. Psychologically, this ties into reward anticipation. The occasional pull of being deeply engaged in your own life creates an element of anticipation, similar to what's observed in intermittent reinforcement, where rewards, or attention, given unpredictably, are more powerful. It keeps the other person interested, without needing to fake disinterest or manufacture distance. This dynamic reflects authenticity. You're not playing hard to get. You're genuinely invested in your own journey. This is the language of love, using spice in the cook, not through constant attention, but through creating a space where both people can grow individually while still nurturing the relationship. You're not faking or manipulating. You're simply living your life fully, which naturally creates attraction.